Parenting Academy Al Khail. Absolutely delighted, obviously, that you have chosen WEC as your choice for secondary education. And we're really, really happy that you are here with us today. Whilst obviously we know that it's a little daunting for students to make that jump from primary to secondary, going from being a big fish in a small bowl to a little fish in a bigger bowl, it is worth noting and reflecting that they have been preparing for this since the start of Key Stage 2, and they are really ready to take that leap. As parents, we know you're obviously going to be very nervous, especially if this is your first child to take that step into Key Stage 3. And you're going to have a lot of questions that we will start to answer for you this afternoon. Please feel free as we go through to pop any questions in the chat, and we will answer them as we go, or if we can't do that, we will answer them at the end. Just to let you know, this session is being recorded today, so we can share it with the families who are unable to join us. So just there on the screen, it gives you an oversight of who the senior leadership team are in secondary. So Campbell Douglas is our principal and CEO, and he oversees the whole of the academy. And those of you that are already with us in the academy, you will already know him. Myself, as I've already said, I'm Gemma Thornley, and I am in charge of running the secondary school. And I have a fantastic team of people around me. We have the Vice Principal, Miss Lisa Waring, who is here on the call. Lisa is new to the school in September, but not new to Dubai, and definitely not new to leadership in GEMS. So she's coming across from First Point to take on data assessment for us and student outcomes, which obviously is a very, very important part of what we do in secondary. We have Ashley Robbins, who is our other secondary vice principal. He will be taking on student experience and culture from September. He's been with us for 2 years as well, but he's been in Dubai for 15 years, and he's been with GEMS for the majority of that time. So very experienced there at the top end. It is worth noting as well that I've been with GEMS and we're in Dubai for 10 years. I was at Jumeirah College for 8 years before I joined this school 2 years ago, and I love this school. We also have with us the rest of the team. So Mrs. Stacey Bradwell, she's not on the call today, but again, a lot of you will already know her. You just go back up, right? Director of Inclusion. We have Mr. Thomas Moriarty, or Tom as he likes to be known as, who is our assistant principal, and he looks over Key Stage 5, so he's very much responsible for the student outcomes at the very, very top end of the school, which is not quite where your students are, your children are yet, but they will be someday, and he will be the man that will look after them. We have Emma McCulley, who is on the call here with us today. She is a very important person that you will get to know very well over the coming years, because she is the assistant principal who is in charge of Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, and your children are going into Key Stage 3, so you will get to know her very well. And she's actually going to lead this session today once I stop talking. And then we have Mr. Ben Pointer, who's the head of Year 7. Now, I know all of you are really keen to meet him. Unfortunately, Mr. Pointer is at home with COVID, so he's suffering a little bit at the moment, so we're just kind of leaving him be today, but you will meet him a lot in September, and when we have our face-to-face evening, which will happen early in September, you will be able to have the opportunity to meet him in school alongside tutors. And then the tutor team, these are the people that are going to look after your children for their pastoral provision as they go through Key Stage 3. So it's very different, and I know Emma will talk about that in a second. At the moment, you're very much used to your children having one teacher that teaches them everything apart from some of the specialist subjects. But in secondary, it's kind of flipped, where they have their form tutors who look after them. They see them every single day for 20 minutes in the morning. They're always the point of call for everything. So any problems that you might have, or worries or concerns, or you want to share something, you would share that with the form tutor in the first instance, and they would obviously help out with everything that they need to do for you there. So Miss Chan is going to be in charge of 701. She is a science teacher, and she's been with us for about 4 years now. She's fantastic. Mrs. Noor Subri, she is one of our Arabic teachers. She is going to be for Pearl 1, 7 Pearl 1. Mrs. Zainab Adamai is going to be joining us from, she's also in the UAE at the moment, and she's in Abu Dhabi at a school. and she is a chemistry teacher. She's going to be leading on 7 Emerald 1. Mr. C. Massengel, he is actually in Abu Dhabi as well as a teacher at the moment, UK's teacher, and he's coming in to be with 7R1. He's going to be teaching DT when he's in school. Mrs. Cynthia Onzawalaki, she is going to be 702. And Mrs. Harina Bassi, who is going to be 7P2. And both Cynthia is an English teacher and Harina is a maths teacher. And we are really excited to welcome them because they will be coming in from the UK. And the other ones I just want to make you aware of in secondary, our heads of core. So Mrs. Rasa Hijazi is the head of Arabic. Mrs. Adina Strachan is our head of English. Mrs. Zahara Khan is our head of maths. And Miss Janine O'Neill is our head of science. Lots of names for you there, but you will get to know them, I promise. And then finally, student support. And we have a fantastic student support centre here. We really do make sure that our children who need additional support with their academic learning or they need development with their English language provision, we have a dedicated... Can you put yourself on mute, please? Thank you. They are absolutely fantastic as a team. They are a dedicated team. They work solely with our students who need additional support. They're led by Stacey Bradwell, and you can see there on the screen. I'm not going to read their names out for you, but they are all there. Our Senkos, our inclusion teachers, our head of ELL. We have an alternative pathways provision here, which is incredibly strong. And Mrs. Gafar leads on that. And then there's no photo at the moment for Mr. Shakespeare because he's new, but he's not new to the school. He's been working with WEP for the last 3 years in a freelance capacity, and we're absolutely delighted that we finally managed to secure him to work with us full time from September. So in regards to student support, it's given to students in many ways. There are small group sessions. We also have one-to-one sessions for students that require that. So if your child does need additional support and they already have that in place and they're already in the academy, all of that will seamlessly transition into secondary. All of that has already started. So the teachers for next year who are teaching your children, the form teacher of your child, and obviously the student support centre as well, they already know what who the students are that are coming in, and there is already provision in place to make sure those children who have an individualised education programme, they are already supported before they even join the school, as in the teachers know what their areas of development are, what their barriers to learning are, and how they can best plan to support your child. So if you are concerned about anything to do with additional need help, Mrs. Bradwell is more than happy to do one-to-one meetings with you on Zoom, or if you want to come into school, that is absolutely fine, and she will set that up for you. We just wanted to reassure you before we got going that anybody who does have additional needs support for English language or for inclusion, that is already in hand, and we are already handing that over from primary to secondary this side of the summer. So I'm going to pass over to Emma. She's going to lead the rest of the session. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. And so if you have any questions, please pop it in there and we will endeavour to answer them. Emma.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thornley. Good afternoon, everybody. Most of you, hopefully, if you've been in the school for a long time, will know who I am. My name's Emma McCulley. I'm part of the PE team at school and proudly part of the secondary leadership team now from this year as well. So you are going to get quite a lot of information this afternoon, but like Mrs. Thornley said earlier, we will be recording the session so that you can watch it back if needed, and we'll also be following up with some communication over email around some of the things that we will be going over this afternoon. So the first thing I sort of want to touch upon is the standards and expectations that we have in the secondary school. Lots of the students come to us and think, oh, secondary school, it's really, really strict, it's horrible, and so on. And that's what a lot of my year 6 PE students have been saying to me over the last few weeks. And I just want to sort of reassure you, but that is sort of not the case. Yes, we have standards, but similarly to the primary school, we have high standards, and we try really hard to make sure that they're embedded in everything that we do on a daily basis. So as you can see on the screen, Year 7 is great. It's very, very challenging, but it's also very rewarding. And there's some sort of key points that I've mentioned on this slide. So as you will know, if for those of you who have been part of the school, that uniform is extremely important. Looking the part and being ready for learning is one of sort of the main standards that we have here, and we will follow up with communication around exactly what the uniform looks like. It's very, very similar to that of the primary school, so hopefully those who are not joining us as new joiners will be aware of that. Punctuality, of course, secondary school, we start at a different time from the primary school, so we start at 7:40, so slightly earlier, and we finish slightly later. So there's an extra half an hour on the secondary day, so it's a 7:40 start and a 3:10, 3 finish. Again, I keep saying similarly to the primary school, but it's true. So maximum effort at all times. Probably the biggest thing for starting secondary school is around the increased levels of independence. And that also goes for parents as well as students. So parents, you will be very used to perhaps receiving a weekly email from teachers telling you exactly about their child and what they have been doing across the curriculum all week. The level of communication in secondary is not as much as it is in primary, and we do communicate through different channels, which I will go over sort of in the next few slides. But the students do have to be more independent, so they will tell you more about their day, and you can read all about how they're getting on a system called Go for Schools, which we will do an introduction for at a later date. In terms of the school policies and routines, we expect them, of course, to be followed, and they will all be mailed home to you, the behaviour policy and the uniform policy and so on. And one of the biggest things, sort of being a pastoral lead here, is to sort of respect every member of our community and take every opportunity that is presented. We are a great school that has sort of a lot of opportunities across the curriculum and outside of the curriculum, and we expect all of our students to sort of grasp those opportunities. So if it's being in the school production, for example, doing a TEDx talk, we did have a student as young as Year 8 who did their first TEDx talk at the weekend, and that was incredible. So we hope that our students coming into Year 7 will really take advantage of the opportunities. And I've got a light blue box there saying it is okay to make mistakes as long as a lesson is learned and we see improvement later. So again, a myth around the secondary school is that if a mistake is made, that's it, life is over and everything will be horrible for students from now on. But that is absolutely not true. We actually take great pride in how we sort of manage our behaviour here, and we do teach students that it's okay to make mistakes. Adults will also make mistakes as well, and it's about learning and growing from them and moving forward. So that is something that we'll really sort of embed with the students when they arrive in the secondary school in August. So rewards and sanctions. So you'll be used to perhaps dojo points and house points. We have house points in the secondary school and we award them for behaviour, attitude and attendance. So every teacher will give out at least 2 house points every lesson for outstanding and going above and beyond, whether that be with hard work or anything across our high performance learning strands. So it could be for empathy, meta thinking, resilience and so on. So there are many, many different ways that our students can be rewarded, and it's not necessarily for academic rewards all the time. We do reward students who go above and beyond expectations in assessments, for example, but a lot of our rewards are around being good human beings and treating each other with respect. On the sort of opposite side of that, we have our behaviour points, and those are the negative points, and they are given if a student perhaps does something they shouldn't or is late, treats someone with disrespect, and they will also show on that student's record, and they take away from house points as well, so they aggregate out. House points and behaviour points are really, really important, and not only do they keep students motivated, but they also are the ticket for students attending our rewards days. So we have termly rewards days, for example, next week we're going to Top Golf and to Aquaventure, and the students have a house point target to get on those rewards days by the end of each term. So that's what they sort of work towards every term. I've mentioned a few other things, sort of spin the wheel, tutor of the week, and head of year heroes. And these are just other ways that we communicate home with parents, and we reward our students for displaying and demonstrating really positive behaviour on a daily basis. So spin the wheel happens every 2 weeks, and that is for students who achieve house points and no behaviour points. They spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on, they win that prize, which could be house points, stationery, an express lunch pass, or booking a table tennis table, for example. So that's something the heads of year have brought in this year, and it's proved extremely popular. So what does a year 7 student need to bring to school? So last week we had our transition days, and some of the students arrived to their transition sessions with nothing, and that was a bit alarming for us, and also a bit of a reality check for them. So we do have a checklist which we will send home to parents so that you can ensure that your child is prepared. And there's lots and lots of things that the students need to bring to school. And this is where it differs from primary, because I know that they have the equipment on the tables for the students, but in secondary, students are responsible for carrying and making sure that they have all the correct equipment in school all the time. And we also give out house points for that, because it's a sign of being really, really organised. At the bottom of the list, you will see that an iPad is needed. So we are a bring your own device school, which means students need to bring their own iPad. Some students do prefer to work on a laptop, that's okay, and that allows them to access Microsoft Teams and go for schools each day. So like I said, I will send this home so that you are well aware of what your child needs to bring to school every single day. Secondary school timetable, so I'll just give you sort of a few seconds to have a look here. So this is what sort of the day in the life of a secondary school student looks like. We start the day with tutor time, which is obviously 5 days a week. On a Monday, it's 5 minutes, and the rest of the days we have 20 minutes. And I will talk about what we do in that time in a few minutes. We have 18 different subjects, which is obviously a lot, but it keeps it interesting. 2 breaks per day, so 20 minutes in the morning for break time, and then 40 minutes for lunchtime in the afternoon. And most lessons are 55 minutes, although we do have a 40-minute lesson once a week, sort of Monday to Thursday at 12 o'clock. And that is where we do our moral and social at the moment. So each child will be given a timetable that will show on their Go for Schools, which is of course the system that I keep mentioning, and they'll also be given a paper timetable so that they know where to go. Of course, they will get lost to begin with. That's absolutely understandable. So there'll be sort of a week where we allow students to get lost, and then after that time, we'll obviously start marking them late if they've not started to find their way around. But secondary school, it seems very big and complicated, but once you sort of work it out, it's actually not too bad. We'll also be doing school tours and ensuring that students know where to go and so on. Okay, I'll pass on to Miss Waring now to talk about assessment.
Hello, everybody. Just working out the sounds, right? Thank you so much. It's lovely to see some of you here, and it's lovely to see some brand new parents to the school as well. Obviously, you know that I'm brand new to the school, and I can assure you, after having been in the school for a very minimal amount of days so far, that you've absolutely made the right choice for your child, and they're going to have an amazing time here. And the staff are fully committed, and they work hard every single day to make sure that the children are safe and they're happy and they're learning. And it's just been an incredible journey. So I'm looking forward to meeting as many of you as I possibly can. Now, with assessment and data, I don't want to talk about this for too long today, because what I will be doing is drop-in sessions with me in the new year. I will be doing a parent workshop for the whole of secondary based on this as well. And what is essential that I'd like you to know is that we are moving to GCSE grading all the way from year 7. And what the thing is that I want you to take away from this is that your child in actually year 5 and year 6 has actually started that GCSE work on the lower levels. So it's nothing brand new to them. And what we will be doing is that curriculum is progressive from year 6 into year 7. And the way that we record their data then and the work that they're doing is using the GCSE level. So you can see there the flight path, if you like, for year 7, where the green would be what we'd expect the students to get for age-related expectations in that year group. Now, We know that children learn at different points. Every child is different. And we have created this flight path so that students can fit on this flight path wherever they need to and wherever it's accessible for them. The biggest thing about this for me and for the staff and for the SLT team here is that there's no ceiling on learning at work, okay? We don't put a lid on what the students can learn. If a child is gaining a GCSE grade, we don't just stop there, we push them to the next one and we keep pushing them and pushing them. So as Emma said before, we are challenging our students, but we do that in a realistic and a purposeful way. We are a high performance learning school, so we want all of our children, and that's what we all say across this building, that all of our students are high performance learners. And if your child in year 7 is capable of gaining a GCSE 6, then we will make sure that we award them that grade. And if your child needs further support to gain other GCSE grades, then we will obviously offer that as well. So that is a very small taster, and I will be explaining that further, especially when data reports come out for your child in the future. The next slide is something that I want to share with you regarding, as a parent, what you will be receiving and what to expect. And I think it's really important that we just go through this slide so you can get a flavour of what it's going to look like. So your child, as they come into the different subjects, because obviously as Gemma said before, they will have a different subject teacher across all of the subjects, which is really exciting. They will be baselined. So they will have a baseline assessment so that their teachers can give them their starting points into year 7. Now we will obviously be using that year 6 data as well. So we'll have a really, really good judgment of where your child is. And we do that for children that haven't even been in the school as well. We then have in September, early September, is a Meet the Form Tutor evening, and that will be an exceptional opportunity for you to sit down and meet that person who will see your child every day, and to talk to them about how they're getting on, and to talk to them and make that relationship. You know, we are a family here and we want to create those relationships and those links. So that is a perfect opportunity for you to do that. What I will say is that please don't wait for these events. If you need to contact us, if you need to contact a teacher or a form tutor or one of us, please don't wait for these events to come. You are more than welcome to contact us at any time to make sure that we're there for your child. And then you've got key assessment dates, parent-teacher consultations are there. So in addition to the form tutor evening, you will have 2 of them within the year. So you can see one in term 1 and you can see one in term 2. Every term, your child will receive information about their progress and attainments. So a data and behaviour for learning report in the end of term 1 and term 2. And then at the end of term 3 is when they will receive that full written report from every single subject. Your child's progress in year 7 and how they do and the grades that they attain will continue into year 8. So we don't lose anything. So it's everything that they do in year 7. We keep it, we bank it, and then we keep on progressing then in year 8. So it's one big journey. I really look forward to seeing you all in the new year, and thank you so much for your time today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Waring. So part of my job this year, or sorry, next year and this year, is to lead on pastoral care in the secondary school, specifically Key Stage 3 and 4. We are really proud of the outstanding pastoral care we offer at the Academy. We have, as you can see, a huge variety of ways that we do care for and look out for our students' well-being and mental health. I will show you sort of a flavour taster into our form time programme on the next slide, but that is something that we have built in this year alongside sort of staff and student voice and what they want to be doing with their mornings. We have Upstrive, the Wellbeing app, which I believe is being used in year 6 at the moment, actually year 4 to 6. And so our current students will have an idea of what that looks like. And again, I'm going to show you that in just a second. Form tutors, now Mrs. Thornley touched on this very briefly at the beginning. This is where sort of the biggest difference between primary and secondary is that you have specialist teachers for all of your subjects. And one of the most important people to you and to your child is their form tutor. That person starts the day with your child, makes sure that they are prepared, make sure that they have any key messages from the head of year or anybody else in school, works on their personal skills, their life skills with them, and is the first point of contact if you as parents have any questions around anything going on in year 7. The next sort of level up from a form tutor is the head of year, which you'll be familiar with. So Mr. Pointer is the head of year, year 7. He has been in that role since January of this year, where he took over from Mrs. Rayner, who was managing all of Key Stage 3 before it got too big. And Mr. Pointer is also part of our maths team. So he, as head of year, will do regular check-ins with the students using things like Upstrive to get an overview of how they are all doing. And we'll regularly chat with them and find out sort of what is going on. We also have our school counsellors on site. We have Miss Susanna and Miss Michelle, who work across the primary and the secondary school. And at the end there, I've mentioned relationships with all staff. Now, we are really proud of the relationships that our teachers have with their students. They get on very, very well. We are, like Miss Waring said, there is sort of no ceiling to achievement and challenge in this school. And that is because of the foundation that we have with the relationships between our students and staff. So there is a huge level of mutual respect there, and our staff really want our students to go on and achieve extremely well, which they do. And that all comes down to really positive and nurturing relationships that our staff have here. So here's just sort of a little taster into both Upstrive, which is what you can see on the left. Now, students, they check in on the Upstrive app every single day, and they are asked, how are you feeling today? And they can answer, as you can see, this was a good day. 79 of our students were feeling happy, 7 were ecstatic, and so on. And that is a really, really powerful tool for us as staff to see how a big group of students are feeling at one time. Next year, students will be checking in sort of once a week on a Friday to let us know how their week has been, and they can check in Monday to Thursday if they wish. Now, Upstrive is a great tool because not only does it allow students to sort of self-regulate their emotions, but it also gives them different modules and tools that they can use around maybe some issues that they are facing. So, for example, if they're feeling stressed around exams, there are modules around that on Upstrive, and they can click into that and listen to people of their own age talking about how they had dealt with that and different strategies to manage exam stress and so on. So there's lots and lots of amazing resources on there and for our students and staff actually, and that's sort of something that our students are tapping into quite a lot towards the end of our year. On the right hand side, you can see something called Who Are You Wednesday. So that is when we really look at our high performance learning values. So we're looking at empathy on this specific day, which was in March. And our Wednesday, we really, really reflect and think about who we are as people. And then we try to integrate that into our day-to-day school life. So every 2 weeks at the moment, we have a different focus, and all staff are made aware of that, and they reward students around what that focus is in school. And we found that to be really, really useful in allowing the students to gain a greater understanding of sort of attributes such as empathy, which they may not be too familiar with, but they definitely are now. So that's sort of some of the things that your child can look forward to in the mornings. We also do our weekly Tuesday quiz, which is really, really popular, and that's all around world events. So it allows students to have fun, but also to keep up with what's going on around the world. And we do have our Taskmaster challenges as well. So attendance, now this is across the whole schools, not just secondary school. Attendance is really, really crucial to success in any year group, but particularly in the secondary school. And Mr. Robbins done this research for me, and he actually found out that research suggests that 17 missed school days a year equals a dropped grade in GCSE achievement, and that's from the sort of the Director for Education, who that research has come from. So if we look at the table there, you can see if your attendance is 85%, for example, that equals 29 days absent, which is 6 weeks and 150 lessons missed. So although having 85 or 90% attendance might not seem too low, that is the equivalent of missed learning time that would sort of equate to, which is of course huge. Our sort of envisioned level of attendance is 96%. We realise sometimes that's not possible, particularly with COVID and illness at the moment, but it's something that we strive towards because we do obviously want to have an outstanding attendance record and make sure that our students are in school, enjoying their learning and achieving their potential. So social media for parents is probably something that is extremely prevalent and maybe something that you are worrying about. And it's something that sort of is a challenge and changes sort of every day with new TikToks and Snapchats and all sorts that come to light and that we try to manage. Now, we will be doing sessions, as you can see, these are an example on the screen of sessions that we have done this year. So about social media concerns and dealing with COVID-related anxiety. So we will be doing sessions that are run by our counsellors around areas like this, particularly social media. What we would ask for as parents, of course, things that happen outside of school, obviously, are the family responsibility. Sometimes social media concerns will spill into school because there's maybe been indecent chat on a WhatsApp or a Snapchat group, for example, and it ends up coming into school the next day, which in that case, we will help you sort of and guide you to deal with that. But please be vigilant with devices at home. Ensure that your child is coming off their devices at a reasonable time in the evening, for example. And I would say in year 7 that you should be checking their devices and ensuring that they are using them responsibly. And if you do, like I said, if you do need advice around those areas, we will be running parent workshops on them early in the next academic year. So we're nearly there, 2 more slides to go. So second last slide is around student leadership. And this is something that is growing all the time along with the growth of the school. So it's a huge part of our academy here. We've had a really successful year for our student leadership team in both the primary and the secondary school. I have been working alongside the head of sixth form to ensure that we have even more opportunities for our students next year. And on the screen, you can see sort of a wide range of different areas that your child may want to get involved in next year. Our committees, which you can see on the screen, they will be run by our year 13 students. And then we can have key stage 3 and 4 students who join these committees as champions and then play a part in these different areas of the school. So for example, if we look at marketing, we have lots of different events that happen in school, such as the Open Day. Our marketing leadership team will be working on producing materials to sell that to the outside and to parents and potential parents. And that's just one example of sort of a different type of leadership that students might want to do in school. We do, of course, have our prefects and student council as usual, and we also have our house representatives, which I will just speak about now because I would like to also just finally mention our house system. So you will know that we have relaunched the house system, or we are relaunching the house system in August, and that means new classes, potentially new houses for some students, new competitions from all subjects across the school. Now, the reason we've done this is to allow for more opportunities for everyone to excel and succeed. Sometimes house competitions are very limited to just sports day. This year, I'm very pleased to say that all departments have already calendared their house competitions. So we have really exciting events such as inter-house debate. We have, of course, have our usual sports ones. We have Islamic Quran reading competitions. We have maths challenges. We have castle building in history. And these will all be house competitions leading up to crowning our house champions at the end of the academic year. Mrs. Thornley has also ordered mascot competitions for costumes, for each house. I'm not sure who will be dressing up in them, but they will be there. So it's really, really exciting development for the school. Each form class will be tied to a house. So for example, 701 is 7 Onyx 1, and the form tutor will also be part of that house as well. So we really hope that the house and team spirit is really enhanced by this sort of development and new initiative that we are bringing in August, and something that we are really, really excited about at the Academy. So that was a lot of information. Like I said, we've recorded this and we will be sending it out. I know there's been some chat as well, I can see. But if anyone would like to ask any questions now, you can use the sort of raise your hand emoji and we can have a little look and see. just reading the chat now, Mrs. Thornley. I think you've answered all the questions, haven't you?
There's a couple there. Is the role of the class prefect rotated?
Interesting question. So the class prefect, so it's not a class prefect, it's a year group prefect, and that person will be in position for the academic year. In class, in year 7, you might have a class monitor. So the form tutor might have a monitor who helps with things like checking equipment and making sure everybody's coming into the room okay, making sure the room is tidy, and so on. So the prefect role is for the whole academic year, but there are sort of in-class roles that the form tutor might put in place, which would be rotated, yes.
And there's another question there. What are we doing for anti-bullying this year? And how are we monitoring it?
Okay, so obviously anti-bullying is something that we take very seriously in the school. I know at the moment that Mr. Robbins and Primary are working together to update our policy to make sure it's even more rigorous. And we do have our anti-bullying days that we celebrate, sort of being different and being tolerant and so on. But it's, to be honest, it's something that we do every single day. We monitor the bullying and anti-bullying through apps like Upstrive, and students are quite sort of forthcoming at times if there are sort of incidents in school which will relate to bullying. I'm quite happy to say we don't have too many incidents of that happens in school. But I don't, in terms of specific days, yes, we do have an anti-bullying day, but it's something that we are regularly monitoring daily for anti-bullying.
There's questions here about the house system. Siblings are no longer in the same house. Well, yes, we have tried very hard to make sure that we've kept siblings as much as possible in the same house. We have had a few instances where parents or students have asked to be in a different form group. At that point, obviously, we've said to the student and the parent that that may mean that they're in a different house to the sibling. It doesn't particularly make a big difference in the sense of what they will be doing on their day-to-day, but obviously when it comes to competitions, if they're in a different house, you'll have to decide which house you're going to cheer on if they are in a different house. Why have the house colours been changed for year 7? The house colours are exactly the same as in primary. So if you are a WPS parent, you obviously didn't have the name of Onyx, Pearl, Diamond, Pearl, Emerald and Ruby, you just had the colours. So it's exactly the same colours, but obviously from WEC we do have the names which align with the rest of the Wellington schools. So the colours haven't changed at all, it's just they have a name against them. We've got someone with a hand up. Dana, would you like to ask a question?
Yes, I just wanted to inquire about the applications, the apps, the number of apps kids are going to be using, the students, and the number of apps we parents have to keep following up on. It's becoming crazy, honestly.
I know. It's
yeah,
difficult.
thank you.
I'll just talk about the parents and then Emma could talk about the student apps. So we have something in secondary called Go for Schools, and I know obviously in primary you have learning ladders. Now Go for Schools in secondary has everything on there that you need for your child for assessment, data, monitoring, tracking, looking at their attendance, looking at if they've been late to school. All of that information is in one place. Obviously with GEMS, they do have their GEMS Connect app, which everything from now on from the school will be pushed through that. So any emails or letters that are assigned to year 7, for example, all goes onto the GEMS Connect app. But yeah, I do feel your pain. I know there are a lot of apps. We are trying to streamline them. We don't have as many in secondary as in the primary school within lessons. There are specific apps that maybe some of the lessons will use, like for example maths might use something that focuses specifically on maths, the science, etc. But that's more in class for your child to actually use to enhance their learning with the planning and obviously the delivery of the teaching and learning that the teachers doing there for them in the classroom. It's not necessarily something that you then have to log on to. Go for Schools will be your main point of call for a parent. Emma, is there anything to add to that I've missed?
No, I don't think so. I think the main sort of, like you said, in terms of looking at data and how your child is doing, Go for Schools is a live tool, and we will do a parent workshop on that. So for example, if I put in a grade for a student, parents will see that straight away. And so that is where sort of that's the main app. In terms of what students use, Microsoft Teams is their main sort of app, or they can use it on Safari or Chrome, whichever sort of browser they use. And I know Shobi is probably the next one that's most used across subject, particularly practical subjects like design, technology and drama, for example. But yeah, Microsoft Teams and Go for Schools for students, and Go for Schools and GEMS Connect for parents. But we definitely, in terms of the amount of applications, it's not as many as primary, so hopefully that will give you a little less anxiety around it all.
Any other questions? Will there be communication regarding the apps to be used for parents and students? Yes, yeah, as Emma just said, we will do very early in the new year, we will do a parent workshop on Go for Schools. Once you've got it, you'll wonder how you ever live without it. And it's very much, there'll be a lot of focus on that at the beginning of the academic year, especially for new parents joining us and our Year 7 parents as well. So that's something that we will definitely do for you. Century, yes, they do use Century, some of the subjects in secondary. Century is a lovely tool, and it is really, really well used in the primary school. We tend to move away from it a little bit in secondary because the weekly revision is actually done by the teachers in regards to the schemes of work that link to the national curriculum for England, and as they move through, obviously, for their GCSE years. So there is Century is there. I think maths may use it still now. But in regards to the weekly revision, the homework, you'll have curriculum maps, you'll know exactly what your children are doing. And the teachers obviously tailor that bespokely to the class that's in front of them. Yeah, in regards to the bags, a lot of questions about the black bag. I understand that. Wheelie bags are absolutely banned from September in the school. They're dangerous. So that is something that we will not be moving from. That is our stance on that. However, in regards to the black bag, yes, you can absolutely have a plain black bag. I do understand that the threads one isn't the quality that you would like, and we completely support that. And in secondary as well, they might want a bag that's got a little bit more room in it so they can carry their reading books and things. They do have a locker as well. So obviously, I mean, it's quite interesting when you see your child coming to secondary school on the first day of school, it looks like they're moving out of home because they have so much baggage with them, and obviously their PE kit as well. So part of secondary is very much about establishing routines and getting them organised and starting, as Emma said, to be more independent of you. And I know it's going to be quite difficult to kind of let go a little bit when it comes to secondary, but you'll be so surprised how quickly they adapt. And that locker can be used, and we will train them how to use their locker effectively. Some students choose to put their books in their locker in the morning, and then they go back and change their books at break time and lunchtime. That's a model that I quite like. But some of them choose to take their bag with them all day and have their bag tucked under their desk and take their books out as and when they require. They do find their way with this, but in regards to the actual black bag, you can totally, utterly have a plain black bag. Can the parents connect with the tutors on a need basis? Absolutely. So you will receive, in the very first week of school, you will receive an email from your tutor, and the tutor will give you that would be the direct conversation with that tutor. If you want to obviously make an appointment to come in and speak to them, that's always available. We do have a lot of events throughout the year, as you say, that you can connect with them. You will also get in the first week of school a list of all your the students' teachers and their email addresses as well. We have a 24-hour policy here at the school, so if you email a tutor, the tutor or a teacher, you can expect a reply within 24 hours. And if they can't answer your question, they will always send you a holding email. Although one of the things that I do have found, which is really lovely, which is one of the things coming out of COVID, is if they can't, rather than email you, you'll probably find they'll pick up the phone to you as well, which is lovely. Or they can jump on Teams if you aren't able to come into the school and see them. Or as I say, you can make an appointment, actually come in and see us face to face. We're so excited that we're able to do that more and more now. Yeah, the form tutor is kind of like the class primary teacher, absolutely. They look after their sort of moral and social well-being on a day-to-day basis. If there's ever a problem with any children or any problem in a lesson, you will always find that the child will always go back to their form tutor. The relationship there is incredibly important, as Ms. McCulley has already said. Do they need to carry portable charges? I don't know. Emma, do they need to do that?
Yeah, I was just typing back saying it is recommended to carry a charger because you could run out of battery during the day if you use your device quite a lot. So yeah, I would always carry one if possible. And then that brings on to the next question: are mobile phones allowed? They should be in bags. They can be carried in bags, but mobile phones are not allowed to be used during the school day. So they should sort of be away and out of sight between 7:40 and 3:10.
Students have the continuity of their house colour, and each parent will have received an email telling you what house your child is in for next year, and their form group aligns to that. So just double check to see whether or not they've been moved house. We have had conversations with some parents who would rather than be with their friends than in the house. So obviously that change has happened. So as I say, you should have had an email to tell you which house and which form your child is in for next year. I think that might be everything. As I say, we will send this recording out. If you watch it back and you think of any other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out for us. The SLT, the senior team are always on the gate in the morning. So we're out the front. There's one of us always there. So if you're dropping your child off in the morning and you're part of the school already, please come and say hi, come and ask any questions. If you are worried about anything at all, rather than worry about it over the summer, we've got a week and a bit left at school. We are here, we are listening. We know this is a huge transition for not just your children, but for you as well. And believe me, it will be fine. It always is fine. It's just making that initial step and kind of getting those anxiety levels down. I completely appreciate that. But talk to us, reach out to us. If you're not comfortable with that, speak to your Year 6 teacher if you're in the school, and they will get in touch with the right person for you. We are 100% here to support you through the next stages of your child's career. Secondary school is so exciting. When you speak to primary teachers always say, I don't know how secondary teachers do it. And when you speak to secondary teachers, they always say, we don't know how primary teachers do it. But from my point of view, as the head of secondary here, I'm so proud to be the principal of this school. I have an amazing team around me. The children in this school are phenomenal, and they achieve so much holistically and academically, and I can't wait to actually get to meet you all properly when we come back after the summer. Have a fantastic summer, a safe summer, have some rest. Everybody needs it, and we will see you on the other side. Take care. Thank you.